Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am super excited to do this breakdown. Man, this episode was very awesome. And we're going to go ahead and do the breakdown of Kenobi episode 3. Again, spoilers if you haven't seen it. Please go watch it. It is phenomenal. Probably the best episode so far. And let's get started. It starts off in the cargo ship where you see Obi-Wan trying to communicate with Qui-Gon. But it plays back to where Reva is telling Obi-Wan that Anakin is alive. But then it cuts to Darth Vader being assembled by machines, which is super awesome to see how he is assembled together and is still fearsome. And of course, Obi-Wan is very shaken of the news and he is very nervous of what to do. He is practically begging Qui-Gon to help him on his next move. In the last cry for help, Obi-Wan tells Qui-Gon that Anakin is coming. Then it cuts to Vader's castle in Mustafar. As you can remember, Mustafar is the planet where Obi-Wan defeated Anakin. Then Vader is communicating with Reva to find Obi-Wan Kenobi, as he clearly stated to her that the Grand Inquisitor means nothing right now, but the only objective is to find Kenobi and to let him know where he is. And he tells Reva that he will grant her as Grand Inquisitor if she finds Obi-Wan Kenobi, as if her life depended on it. Then it cuts back to Obi-Wan and Leia. Leia asks him what the Force feels like, and Obi-Wan gave her her first lesson of the Force by saying, "Are you afraid of the dark?" Which she says yes. Then he says, "How do you feel when you turn on the light?" And she says she feels safe. And he tells her that's exactly how the Force feels. In other words, Obi-Wan gave Leia her first lesson of the Force. As they land in Mapuzo, they had to sneakily get off the ship and get out of the area because it was surrounded by stormtroopers with a loader droid, and you can see an R5 unit. As they're traveling through the fields, Obi-Wan tells Leia of their background story so they could keep their identity safe, but in the distance he becomes scared. He sees Anakin Skywalker in his Sith robes. This is a metaphor that Anakin can sense that Obi-Wan is alive and that he is tracking him down. Back at the Inquisitorium, Reva was able to get the orders to send out all the probe droids to go find Kenobi, and you can see that the probe droids are being launched from the Inquisitorium into space. Cut back to Obi-Wan Kenobi and Leia. They arrived to the coordinates, but nobody was there. So Obi-Wan's next plan is to go to the next spaceport and see if they could travel off-world back to Alderaan. Leia notices a transport coming nearby and she decided to go up to it to get a ride. As they introduce themselves to Freck, the Freck is the driver of the transport. Freck was able to give him a ride, but Obi-Wan notices that he's a transport for the Imperial. He hesitates, but they had to continue on. As they were traveling down, Freck decided to stop and pick up some stormtroopers, and Obi-Wan becomes very frantic about it. Stormtroopers decided to interrogate Kenobi and Leia of who they were, in which they told them their new names and why they were there. But Obi-Wan almost blew their cover by saying Leia's name, but Leia was able to recover by saying that Leia was her mother's name. And of course, Obi-Wan follows suit with the story, saying that Leia was his wife and they lost her, and they haven't been the same ever since. The stormtroopers bought it and they continued their way. Eventually they got to their destination and the stormtroopers got off. As they continued their way, Leia, using the Force, sensed that there was something missing, and she looked up to Obi-Wan and said, "Are you my real father?" And he said, "No." "Why is that?" She said that he's been hiding something. He reassured her that when he was younger that the Jedi would take younglings away from their families. All he could remember was bits and pieces of his father and his mother and his little baby brother. I think it was a cool call out to his real brother, because his real brother is a pilot and he runs by the name of Obi-2. And it'll open the door for another Jedi that is related to Obi-Wan. But in Legends, Obi-Wan's brother is Owen. They continue their way until they hit a checkpoint, which Obi-Wan tried to get off earlier, but Frank kept going. They stopped and he told them that it would be a quick inspection. He went off to tell the stormtroopers to go check on Obi-Wan and Leia. Obi-Wan put his hood on. The stormtroopers told him to get off. While they were getting off, a probe droid shows up. The probe droid analyzed his face and sent the message that they found Kenobi to the Inquisitors. Obi-Wan shoots it. Then he went pure John Wick mode and killing all the stormtroopers, and he knocked out Frank. And then he shot down the gate, and him and Leia were trying to make a run for it. Another transported stormtroopers arrive, and they were told to get on the ground. And an Imperial officer walks out of the transport. She realized that it was Kenobi and Leia, the runaways. She shoots down the stormtroopers. She tells Obi-Wan and Leia that they were late. They take off on the transport to go to the safe house. Back in the Inquisitorium, they receive word from the probe droid that Obi-Wan is in Mapuzo. They went ahead and informed Vader, so the Inquisitors and a battalion go to Mapuzo to apprehend Obi-Wan. Back to Obi-Wan, they made it to the safe house. It's a loading droid storage building. The Imperial officer that goes by the name of Tala leads him to a secret room in which there was writings on the wall, and Obi-Wan was analyzing it, and he realized Quinlan Vos was there. Tala mentioned to Obi-Wan that Quinlan Vos has been helping younglings through a Star Wars version of the Underground Railroad to safety. Once Obi-Wan heard about Quinlan Vos smuggling Force sensitive to safety, it sparked hope in his eyes. And then they hear tapping from stormtroopers to enter the building. As they were listening from the secret room, stormtroopers were roaming around in the building, in which they weren't able to find anything. Tala was going to lead them down the tunnel to go meet with the pilot so they could leave. But then Obi-Wan felt the Force that Vader was there. So they went to go see. Alas, the best moment begins. Darth Vader shows. He can sense that Obi-Wan is there. So he decides to use the Force and start killing people left and right just to draw out Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is helpless and watching from inside the building. So he tells Tala to take Leia down the tunnel and take her back to Alderaan, and he will create enough space and time for them to escape. As they leave, and Vader killing people left and right as a savage animal, Obi-Wan decides to go out the building so he can lurk Darth Vader away. At one point, Darth Vader stops and he looks in the direction where Obi-Wan was hiding outside. Of course, Obi-Wan was gone. And then Darth Vader stops and he heads out to go find him. As Vader leaves to go chase down Obi-Wan, Reva was going to go and help Vader chase down Obi-Wan, but the fifth brother stops her and tells her that Vader told them to not engage, but Reva told him that they should clear out the whole village to see if there's anyone that is helping Obi-Wan. So they start searching down the village, stripping it, and see if there's anyone helping them. Eventually the loader droid comes out of that safe house, and she goes in it. Any people hiding in there. Eventually she finds the safe room, and she goes through all the walls, and she discovers of the secret tunnel. Then it cuts to an excavation area, which Obi-Wan leads Darth Vader to. Then he gets confronted by Darth Vader, and he ignites his lightsaber. Obi-Wan draws out his, but he decides to continue running, in which he leads to further down the excavation area, and Darth Vader confronts him again. This time, Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber, and he asks Darth Vader, "What have you become?" Then infamously, Darth Vader says, "I am what you have made me." And then it cuts to Leia and Tala. Leia tells Tala that she needs to help Obi-Wan. Eventually, Tala agrees to Leia, in which they separate their ways. Leia continues to go towards the ship, while Tala will go out and help Obi-Wan. Darth Vader forces the attack, and they duel a little bit, but Obi-Wan has no chance fighting Darth Vader at this moment. Darth Vader shows that he reigns supreme in this fight. Then Darth Vader corners him and uses the Force to lift him up and starts force choking him, in which Obi-Wan drops his lightsaber. Then Darth Vader dumps out flammable, I believe it's like flammable coal. He ignites it. He throws down Obi-Wan into the fire and starts dragging him into it as Obi-Wan starts to burn, just like how Anakin burned. And he mentions that this is just only the beginning of his pain and suffering. That he force pushes him out of the fire, and he told one of the stormtroopers to bring him to him. And Tala was able to shoot down the stormtrooper and shoot a canister that was able to explode and cause a bigger fire, in which the loader droid was able to pick up Obi-Wan and bring him to safety. Then it cuts back to the Inquisitors, and she reports to the fifth brother and mentioned to them that they lost Obi-Wan and that he received help and that they're going to sweep throughout the whole planet. And it cuts back to Tala telling the loader droid to go ready the transport that they had to go to Jabim. Jabim is the planet where they were transporting all the Force sensitives to. Then it cuts to Leia running down the tunnel in which Reva appears, showing that the pilot was killed, and then Leia has to make a run for it from Reva, in which the episode ends. This episode has been outstanding. It is the best episode out of the 3 that came out. It shows the pain and torture that Darth Vader wants to unleash on Kenobi, on how Kenobi just left him to die on Mustafar in episode 3. It's ironic that this is the 3rd episode in which both Obi-Wan and Anakin burned. Now, there was not a lot of nitpicking in this episode because it would mainly focus on Darth Vader. I really love this episode. It showed that Darth Vader is a savage animal, just killing people left and right just to draw out Obi-Wan. And then Darth Vader being a savage animal, trying to see what Obi-Wan is capable of doing. Because the last time he saw him was back 10 years ago when he lost to Obi-Wan on Mustafar. So he's trying to see if Obi-Wan is still that same person, or he is a person that cut himself off from the Force. Instead of just killing him right off the bat, knowing that he could easily, he wants Obi-Wan to suffer and feel every inch of pain that Anakin suffered, not only when he lost in Mustafar, but also when he has been suffering a pain when they've been holding him, when Obi-Wan was holding him back, when Anakin was still a Jedi. Also the loss of Padme. Now the biggest question that's going around is why didn't Vader go through the fire and take Obi-Wan himself? Now, we speculated about this, but I think the reason why he let Obi-Wan go is to see if Obi-Wan has an alliance with him, to see if there's any more Force sensitives or a small army he has been building up over the 10 years. Darth Vader could have easily killed Obi-Wan with just using the Force alone, but his suit is also built to stand fire. He could have easily walked across, but he saw the aid that Obi-Wan had, and he wants to see who else is helping him. He wants to get those who are helping him. He wants to get them and break them and kill them in front of Obi-Wan so he can break every ounce of hope that Obi-Wan has. He wants to break every little thing Obi-Wan has. Not only just physically, emotionally, and mentally. He wants to break all aspects. He wants Obi-Wan to feel every inch of pain that Darth Vader can give out. Then he will kill him. So that is our breakdown, reactions, and predictions of the Kenobi series episode 3. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave a like and comment down below what you think of episode 3. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for further content. And as always, I hope you have a great day and may the Force be with you.